Marcus, and I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about Sweden today. Have you ever gone on a vacation and just come back and felt completely refreshed? Well, that is how I feel whenever I go visit my relatives over in Sweden. It is always such a culture shock when I go over there to see how they live, how they have interesting food, and how beautiful the landscape is. Whenever I get back, I feel like I always learned a lot about Sweden. To begin, I'm going to talk about the geography of Sweden. The borders, it has 4 borders: the North Sea and the Baltic Sea, Finland, and Norway. Norway is its border to the west, the Baltic Sea is to its east, and Finland is northeast border, and the North Sea is southwest border. It's in northwest Europe, and according to the Encyclopedia of the Nations, here are some facts about Sweden. 15% of Sweden is above the Arctic Circle. The average rainfall in Sweden is about 24 inches. There are no deserts in Sweden. It's a very wet country. There are nearly 100,000 lakes that are in Sweden. And along with around 2,000 miles of coastline also. The average temperature during the summer in southern Sweden is about 64 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's usually when I visit. So it's a pretty mild summer. The waters are usually pretty cool also. In the winter it gets down to about 26, so it's not that bad either during the winter in southern Sweden. And so there's a lot of water that's affecting the lifestyle and the food they eat. So next I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about the food. When you think of Swedish food, you always think about meatballs, and that's usually, there are a lot of meatballs in Sweden. They're usually served with a side of lingonberries and gravy, also with mashed potatoes. Another very popular food that they like to serve over there are salmon and open-faced sandwiches, which mean they only have one slice of bread, and then they'll have ham and a lettuce and tomato on top. Usually for breakfast, they'll have cereal with some fresh fruit on the side, and they usually have the cereal in either milk or yogurt. There's usually 3 meals during the day. They have a light breakfast, or a breakfast, a light lunch, and then a dinner. On Swedish.se, an information site about Sweden that kind of tries to persuade you to visit, they have 10 interesting food facts, and I picked out the ones that I thought were the most representative of Sweden. Lingonberries accompany many meals, and that's always true. There's always a little bowl of lingonberries in the center of the table. Open sandwiches are very prevalent. Pickled herring are actually very, they're usually on the table, but it really depends on who you're with and who enjoys it. There's a lot of sweets during the light lunch, or maybe when you go out to the sea or maybe a lake or something, you'll usually bring along with you some bulla, which is like a cinnamon buns, and saft, which is like päronsaft, which is a pear drink that you mix with water, and it's very sweet. It is kind of Americanized in some parts of Sweden, especially in the city. They'll have like burger joints and fast food, which is interesting, and it's always a little bit Swedish, so you can tell it's not completely like if you would go out to a burger joint in America. They have different types of food there, and even the burgers taste a little bit different because I think they try to make it a little more healthy. Like I went to a McDonald's when I was in Sweden, and it was interesting at how the food tasted different. Like if you got a Big Mac there, it would have a very different taste than if you got a Big Mac here. Another thing, guys, I want to talk to you guys about is lifestyle. So now that you know about food, let me tell you about the lifestyle. The taxes are pretty high over there, but not many people complain because of what the benefits are. They have relatively free healthcare. They have to pay a small fee, I think, if they go to the hospital. And their education is free, even up to a university level, but you have to be able to pass all your tests and do well enough to be qualified to get into the school. The CIA World Factbook shows that they have a 10 million population, and most of it's in the south. Sweden is actually heavily urbanized. 85% of Sweden is urbanized. The military you have to take part in from the age of 18 to 47. You have to have 7 to 15 months of active duty, and then the rest of it will be, you'll be in the reserves. The religion in Sweden, 87% is Lutheran, and that's the Church of Sweden. The main language that they speak over there is Swedish, or as they say, svenska. And some schools have a prerequisite to also have classes that you speak English in. So there are a decent amount of people that can understand English. My relatives live right outside of Stockholm, and that's what I find most common. People are usually around the cities, but you also, when you want a vacation or something, it's really easy to go out into the countryside. It's very beautiful. There's many trees and lakes and the ocean. We usually head out to a summer house on the ocean, and we spend a week or two there. There's also amusement parks that are enjoyable there, and it's also a little bit different from American amusement parks because they'll have different elements. Their roller coasters won't be as big, but they'll have like rock climbing walls and different stuff like that. And so I hope you all learned a lot about Sweden's lifestyle, the geography and food, and that you now have a better understanding of Sweden and might consider vacationing in Sweden one day or even decide to live there.